Hi, I'm Magali Pesha, and I'd like to welcome you to the Center for Strategic Intervention. Today we're going to be presenting our first coaching session in a series that we'll be giving you called SI Coaching. In today's session, you're going to see me coaching a young woman at a live event, and our coaching session is really about helping this young woman find the confidence in herself to help others in a big way. She has a dream. You're going to hear a little bit about her dream. And then, like all of us, she has some obstacles. These obstacles are both personal, they're also situational in her family, and they're also really internal, just in the way she thinks and the way she imagines that things have to be or that she has to be. Does that sound a little familiar? Now I'm going to give you a special assignment, okay? While you're watching the coaching session, I'd like you to look out for my hands, right? As you can probably tell, I talk with my hands a lot. I also coach with my hands. Now this is totally unconscious, but I think it's a little bit interesting. So I'd love you to keep your eyes open for what my hands are doing. And I really look forward to talking with you and hearing any comments you have about the coaching session. I hope you enjoy it.
How can you build up someone's confidence from self-criticism and self-doubt to a state of empowered effectiveness and passion so they can actually perform at their highest level? In this short session, you're going to see Magali Pesha guiding a young woman named Michelle, who had dreams of becoming a life coach and a speaker, but she suffered from a variety of different doubts about her abilities. You're going to see how within minutes, Magali hones in on Michelle's real desires and strengths and helps her to rise above all those inner conflicts that were holding her back. And I think you're going to see how easy and powerful it would be for you to use the strategy yourself. So let's begin. We're at a live strategic intervention training with Mark and Magali Pesha, and Michelle has just sat down to get some help with building her coaching practice. So is there a situation in your life that you, or something that you'd like to accomplish, or a goal, or a challenge? What's a threshold?
I'm like a perpetual student.
So that's what you are. What's
what
the
you're-
goal that you want to accomplish? I want to stop being a student?
No, I enjoy learning, but I don't remember who I was talking to. It's like you don't know what you don't know, and the more I know, the more I know, the more I realize what I don't know, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't do all this stuff because I need to know more to be able to do what I want to do.
So what does that make you feel?
It's a lot of work.
And what else is it?
I don't know. I love learning, but it's just I just want to get there.
But what happens when you're feeling, oh my gosh, it's a lot of work?
It's a little overwhelming.
And what else?
It's exciting.
Yeah. So how else do you get excited? What else do you do?
For this specific reason?
To get variety, excitement, growth. What else other than learning?
I mean, I'm not sure. I go out dancing with my girlfriends, but that
Great. Okay, what else? I go out dancing. What do you...
I don't know. I go out with my girlfriends. I've got 2 kids. I'm a single mom, so they keep me really busy.
They keep you busy, but they don't keep you growing and excited.
No.
Okay. So what would...
Actually, they do. They do.
They keep you growing?
Sure, because they...
In a different way, though, perhaps? Like it's a different quality to that kind of excitement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great little people, and they're fun.
Yeah.
And they teach me every day. You know, patience
Yeah.
and, you know, all this.
So what we were getting at when you started talking was you were labeling something frustration at the end result, when what I was hearing underneath that was incredible excitement and variety.
Because you know what
in
it
the
is?
frustration.
Yeah, because I know my potential and I know where I want to get. But I feel that the closer I get in this, like my inner asshole, right? It's like the closer I get, I'm like, okay, stop. You need to learn more before you get there.
Okay, you've got an inner asshole. Do you have an inner bitch?
Yeah, I've got
tell
a
me.
sarcastle.
You've got a sarcastle.
Yeah, so it's like super
I
sarcastic with
love this.
myself. Yeah.
This is great. So how many others do you have? What's the asshole like?
You don't know enough to get to where you want to be, so sign up for something else so you can learn more, and then maybe you'll get there.
So I want to know who they are. You know, like if we have a nightmare with monsters, you know how we get rid of the nightmare?
Face them?
We
Open
will
the
not
closet?
what yeah, we'll not just face them. Well, for me, it's we got to look at them. What do they actually look like? We got to get close enough to see them, to understand them. Then in our dream, we can start to change them. So we need to know the different saboteurs, who they are, what they sound like.
People can live their whole lives feeling controlled by a critical inner voice without either examining who and what that voice is. So as long as that critical voice is invisible, it's hard to defend yourself. It's hard to discover what's really happening and what's really true. But when you bring that voice into focus and you examine, what does it look like? What does it sound like? Then you're dealing with something you can understand.
But I want to stay with your inner
Okay.
voices. So tell me what they say. Let's talk about what one would say
To
you when you're
you have no idea what you're getting into.
okay.
Or,
What do you say back?
shit, maybe you're right. But I'm like, but I'm a fighter. So
And then you guys are
so
you're in agreement.
sometimes I just get pissed, right? And so then I'm like,
And you've used that pissed offness in the past, right, to accomplish a lot.
yeah,
Yes.
a ton.
You told me you had learning disabilities, you overcame them, you moved to a different continent alone, very young in life, independent. So anger works.
Even in high school, just to give you like a quick background, I was told that I was not going to go to a four-year college or even be able to graduate from like a normal high school. That pissed me off. And so I was like, don't tell me what I can do. And so I went and I did it.
It's your strength.
I know,
That's
I get
beautiful.
angry.
That's beautiful.
And then when they said my counselor, which
what's
I can't
next?
even believe, my counselor told me that I couldn't go to like a four-year school. I had to do community college. So I applied to one of the best schools in my state, and I got in, and I got my acceptance letter and put it on his door. You know?
So you've developed some really powerful strategies to get you what you need and to show others that they're idiots, they're fools,
Yeah, I just don't like being told that I can't do something.
right? So why do you tell yourself that you can't do something?
I just like to be over-prepared.
But
So-
have other people have told you you couldn't do something and you rose and you did it. So when you tell yourself you can't do something, are you actually serving yourself a kindness? That voice that says, you're overwhelmed, this is too much. That voice knows that your reaction will be to accomplish and succeed. So what I'm saying is that's not an asshole or a saboteur. That's actually a helper. It helps trigger your passion and your drive to learn it. If you want to change that voice, we can change it. But we need to find something that creates the same power for you to do it.
Did you see that? This is a shift in meaning. That critical voice is actually a driving force for Michelle. So it's the strength she uses to overcome obstacles. We've gone now from her feeling like a victim of her self-criticism to appreciating how that voice actually serves her.
Some people say, you know, you're an idiot, or they say bad things to themselves to get themselves to do something. Other people focus instead on the purpose or on the other people. So there's many different ways, and you can choose. This is one thing, as a coach, I am great with it if you want to keep this voice. I think this voice is serving you, and I would not take away this voice because it's giving you the power to create effective change. However, you may want to develop some other voices too.
I think that the closer I get to what it is that I want to ultimately do, it's like I start freaking out a little bit, and I'm like, holy shit, like I'm so close to success. I'm like, back off. It just seems like it's a lot, right? And so I'm like, am I going to be able to?
Is that pretty normal?
It is, right?
It is?
Okay.
I'm asking you, yeah, is that pretty normal? I mean, do you
I mean,
see
I
that
think-
in other people?
Well, I think so. I think that the closer you are to success, you start becoming fearful and start second guessing yourself, because now it's actually very real and it's very close. And so then which I hate, but I put the brakes on myself and I'm like, okay, I need to be better prepared for when this moment comes. So then I'm here with you guys. to help me. Here's the thing, like I work with individuals now, and it's great. I love working with individuals, but my ultimate goal is to be on stage in front of a really big crowd. How am I going to fake it in front of that? Like I want
Start by faking it in front of a room of about 30 people. I'm serious.
What do you mean?
So to think about being in a room with 1,000 people is very different than to think about being in a room with 30 people.
Sure.
So you're a big picture thinker. And you're a fast implementer. You want to be a fast implementer. Now we need to slow it down. How do you get in a room in front of 30 people?
Oh, that I can. I mean, I can do that, and I can get the people to.
Do you do it?
No. But I know that I can. Like I could find 30 people easy.
Tell me, how are you going to find 30 people and do it?
My brother and my sister. I don't know if you're familiar with Equinox. It's like a really big, like fitness.
heard.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes,
like a high end, right?
Okay.
They're both personal trainers at different areas.
Equinox.
Yeah. And so they're very well known within that community. And so I'm sure that I could, and my school, like Jaden's school, I could blast an email to all the moms and be like, hey, we're doing
Okay.
a seminar.
And why haven't you? Just for 30, with only 30 spots. I don't want you to talk in front of more
Because-
than 30 people.
Because here's the thing, like,
But what will you promise me?
what?
The first time you speak to a room, there's not going to be more than 30 people. If people call you and say, I want to come, you say, I'm sorry, my 30 seats sold out.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't know how to organize.
I'm not sure you really promised me.
So we've established what Michelle actually wants now. She dreams of speaking before thousands of people, and she doesn't know how to make that happen. So now, Magali is limiting the number of people that Michelle can have at her first event. 30 people maximum. Why is she doing this? It's a paradoxical strategy. Instead of Michelle feeling overwhelmed about speaking in front of so many people, she can instead feel kind of frustrated that she's limited to only 30. See, sometimes frustration is better than overwhelmed. And remember that Michelle said that when someone tries to limit her, when someone tries to stop her and tell her that she can't do something, that gives her tremendous energy to make it happen. Now Magali will take that next step to make that speaking event real.
Close your eyes. You're in a room. Is it night or is it daytime?
It's nighttime.
It's nighttime. Is there a projector behind you so that you can use slides or images?
You know where I am? I'm on.
Tell me.
I'm at I'm on stage. It's not like a classroom, and it's like a high school.
It's like
With-
a high school auditorium.
Yeah, with all the juniors and seniors and their parents.
That's way more than 30 people. One
All right, so the seniors.
the seniors.
All-
Okay.
can it be all the seniors? Okay, just that one classroom of the seniors and their parents,
Yes. you
or
can
just
have
the
that.
parents.
One classroom,
Okay.
and it can be the students
But
and the
you're-
parents.
Okay, so then I change because then I don't want to just talk to the seniors. Then maybe I'll do Equinox, but still,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So Equinox.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
I'll find people that are
And I don't care if you change. It's totally okay.
whatever. Okay.
You can change back and forth. Like you can change back and forth 5 or 7 times, and it won't matter.
Okay.
Okay. So changing is never an excuse.
It just has to be 30.
It has to be 30 people.
Okay.
And actually,
yeah,
it doesn't even matter if they're students or health fanatics. It really doesn't matter because what you're going to say is about you.
What do you mean? I don't want to talk about me though,
Why not?
because I want to help them.
That's the only way that you can help them.
That's fine. You can help them and talk about them too. But you know,
I have to
just
introduce myself, of course.
You have to introduce yourself.
Yeah,
I think that you know what I mean. You have a very compelling story. I don't know if you realize the power of your story, especially for people who have a fitness goal or who have an education goal. So the beginning of what you're going to introduce to anyone
It's a story.
is a story.
I guess that's my fear. It's like, I know that I have the intensity and the passion and I love people and I want to be able to help. But it's like once I get up there, I'm like, all right, now what am I going to say? I have to like organize, and I want to make sure that, you know, they get a lot out of the
So
whole.
first, you're going to connect. You are intense and you are strong. And if you approach that room with that intensity and that strength, some of them will align with you and they will want that same intensity and strength. Some of them may feel intimidated. When you tell your story that shows your vulnerability with your strength, shows that you had weakness and you overcame it and you have passion and you have emotion, they're all with you. Then you can bring them up and motivate them to your level and understand the tools that they can use. But first, they connect with the complicated person you are, the vulnerable, the strong, the creative, the directive, the person who can organize everyone to do an exercise that none of the teachers and none of the PhDs in the room and all that stuff, they can't just think, how do we move in the right way? So they're there for that complicated person. So you start with the complicated story. They connect with you. And then you pick one thing you're going to teach them. And I have homework for you.
Okay.
Maybe you already do this. I want you to watch 10 TED Talks I send you.
Okay.
Magali is helping Michelle to plan her event in simple and concrete terms. 30 people, one 30-minute presentation. Tell her story, then teach one strategy. Simple, right? That's what she needed to hear. And Magali directs Michelle to an example to model. She should watch 20 TED Talks. You see that in 13 minutes, we've gone from a big problem of Michelle's feelings of self-sabotage to now having a concrete plan for making her dreams a reality.
You're going to watch 10 videos that you're going to tell me what you thought of each one. And then just watch those videos. Something's going to happen when you're watching those videos. I don't know what's going to happen yet. I know that you need to be complicated.
You think I need to be complicated?
Oh yeah, you need to be complicated.
Why? Why?
Because you have many layers. You present one layer very powerfully. Then you tell your story, there's this whole other layer. Then you tell another story, your mother's story. That's another layer. I've only met 3 layers. My guess is there's at least 10 layers.
Okay, so Michelle has her marching orders for creating her event. Now, Magali moves into a deeper topic. She suspects that part of Michelle's self-restricting pattern comes from a fear of how to present herself. Have you ever felt that who you are is somehow too complicated to explain, that people won't have the patience to understand? On the other hand, have you ever felt like presenting yourself in too simple a way feels like inauthentic? So what do? Magali introduced the metaphor of layers to help Michelle to figure out how she'd like to manage the problem of presenting herself to her public.
The people in that room do not need to know those 10 layers, but they need to know at least 3 layers. When you've told 3 layers, they're with you.
So
and they're
3
going to
stories?
learn, no, not 3 stories, 3 layers of you. A layer could be, I was frustrated and I didn't know that I would ever be able to learn what I had to learn. But then I got so angry at being told I couldn't learn. And my anger served me because I made myself learn. And then I realized that person who told me I would never be able to do this was my biggest hero. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am now. I'm just giving us an example. That might not be your story. When you're watching those TED Talks, you're going to just watch and things are going to come to you, ideas. What's most important to teach, what you feel most ready to teach. And then you're going to write down what that was. And at the end, you might have 10 different ones, or you might have one that keeps repeating, or 3 or 4. And those are the seeds for what you want to teach. So it's not going to take long. I mean, you're a go-getter. You could do the whole thing in a weekend. I'm serious.
When Michelle started off, she described her inner conflict, where she'd feel these clashes between her ambitious side and her self-critical side. Magali's metaphor of layers allows her to feel and appreciate her own complexity, and you can see a kind of soft calm settling over Michelle. Now, I want you to recognize this state shift in Michelle because it's the cue that Michelle is getting into the zone of feeling capable and confident. Now, here's the thing. When you solve one problem, when you feel confident and good about one thing, your next topic of worry tends to slide into its place. So a coaching session is actually a series of mini conversations addressing one topic at a time. So let's see what will be next.
I think I might use that to the kids as like not a blocker, but like, oh, woe is me, I have kids, I'm a single mom, their dad isn't in the picture, you know?
Woe is me? Is anyone going to ever look at you and say, woe is me?
No, but like, no. No, but what I mean is just, shit, it's hard. It's like two little people, and I'm just, you know, my parents aren't really around all that much, and it's just a lot of work to do. It takes two to make them, but I'm like raising it by myself. It sucks in retrospect.
Is this the real problem?
No, I don't know. No, I don't think so. You think it is? Is that what you're getting at?
I think when you spoke about how hard it is, because it is, I understand it is very hard, you're connecting with yourself, and that's another layer of you. You react to that hardship with strength, and you make things happen. But that deeper understanding of the hardship, I think it's okay just to be with a moment, close your eyes, and experience it's hard. It is hard. I take on a lot, and it's hard.
Yeah,
You don't have to go into self-pity.
No.
And you don't go into self-pity.
No. I push through because there's just no choice. It's kind of like you're given these cards, and so now that's what it is. You know, like.
Absolutely.
But sometimes I get pissed about it. No, I think that's okay, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
So what does your asshole say when you get pissed?
Be pissed.
You pissed?
Yeah, whatever. It'll go.
Do you plan for it? Can you plan being pissed? Is the problem when you get pissed off? Does the getting pissed off serve you to not do this other stuff, to not get on stage, or to not do something else? Is it a distraction? So it's okay to be pissed off, but I want you to be pissed off when it's okay for you to be pissed off.
I get pissed at the situation because sometimes I'm like, there are things that I want to do, and I can't.
Right.
Like in one example is I was on the phone with a client, and I have Savannah, she's 2 years old, and then she starts crying, mommy, and I'm on the phone, and I'm like, holy shit, and I'm like, what, and I don't know what to do, and I, apologize to the client, and then crap, like this person's paying me good money to listen to them and give them, and I've got like my daughter being like, mommy, pick me up, and I'm,
Do you have a mute button on your phone?
on my cell, yes, but the house phone,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, it's practical advice. She needs a mute button. If you can, do you use videos or something else for your child to be focused on before you get on with a client?
Sure, but she's 2.
But she's 2.
Yeah, her
Can
focus is
you
like 15
afford a babysitter in the house? I understand this problem so well.
No, because I'm paying, Connecticut is ridiculous for daycare. It's only 4 hours a day, and I'm paying $2,000 a month.
The strategic interventionist is ready to shift gears, in this case, how Michelle will be able to work with clients while being a full-time mom.
I know a woman, a single mom, that was incredibly successful as a coach, and she did when her kids were a little older than that. She told them, you're making a percentage on everything I make. Yeah, and it was a good percentage. They each got 10% on her whole coaching practice. By the time they were 12 and 14, they were investing their money in stocks. Oh my God. And it was totally worth it to her. Totally worth it. They were like, when is your next client coming? Mom, you're not doing enough business. It completely changed the meaning of mom working.
Yeah.
And I want you to get very excited with them when you get a client and when you get off the phone with a client. So they know you need to create time between clients, or you need to just do one client when you're with your kids.
Yeah. I try to schedule everything from when they're at school from 9 to 1.
Right.
And then I pick up Savvy from school, and then she's home, and that's it.
Right.
If she gets a nap
If they're
in the morning-
home for whatever reason and you're on with a client and you get off with the client, it's over, you need to have a dance party.
Okay.
They see mommy is the happiest ever, and you tell them, this is because you helped me do this. We just helped someone. We did this. You have different tools here
Yeah.
now, and I know that you make things happen, so I'm really not worried about you making it happen. I know you'll get the right phone with a mute button. I know you'll make it up to the client if
Right.
that will happen. And you should practice. Get a friend to call you and pretend to be a client, and pretend with your child. Your 2-year-old can understand this. We're going to play a game. You're going to pretend to distract mommy, and we're going to see how quickly I can make it better with you.
She's really good at that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I bet she's a lot like you.
She's my little terrorist. I love her.
Yeah. What is she going to learn from having you as a mom that she would not learn from anyone else?
Oh my God.
You can get also somebody from Brazil. Get somebody from Brazil.
To do what?
To be a
To
nanny.
help you. To be an
A living that's cheaper than 2,000.
Yeah, but you guys keep in mind I live with my parents, and so that would be like a.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
So
yeah,
if I
check
were
us out.
coaching you, who would come to the coaching session with us?
My mom.
And your dad.
I would love you guys to talk to my mom. That would be awesome.
Okay.
There's so much contention at the house because it's two very strong women. And so she's my mom, I'm living under her roof, and so it's like we're both battling who raises the kids.
Now, the coaching session could end here after 20 minutes with Michelle having a great action plan for her speaking career. However, Michelle now brought up a life situation that impacts everything: the fact of living with her mother. When one question gets answered, the next question opens up. This is how a healthy strategic intervention session works. You go as deep as you want with your clients, and they feel completely understood so they can feel completely confident. Magley's assumption up to now has been that Michelle lives on her own with her kids, but now that she knows that she lives with her parents, Magley's going to expand the unit and learn about Michelle's relationships. This is an essential part of helping Michelle to support her coaching and speaking career. When your client is clashing with their parent, the first question to ask is, how do they make their parents feel important? Let's go.
How do you make her feel important?
I stop everything I do to do things. When she's like, Michelle, I'm gonna go to, and I can tell she like gives me a look. I'm like, okay, Ma, I'll go with you. You know, like I don't want to leave her alone.
So you give her a lot of love.
I give her a lot of
love
time,
and
yeah.
time. How do you make her feel important?
I'm not sure. I mean,
How do you think she likes to feel important? What do you think she does in order to fill her need to feel significant and important and necessary? And that she's contributing and that she's growing with your children and with you. What does she do?
when she's at home, she helps. You know, she helps in the mornings.
She helps.
Yeah, getting
And-
the kids ready for school and stuff.
Okay. And then what do you do when she does that?
I thank her. I tell her, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. You know, I tell her, it's like, it's really, really helpful that you make Jaden's lunch in the morning because I don't have time, so I'm taking care of Savvy.
Yes.
We'd have to wake up like an extra half an hour early, and I was like, thank you for the extra half hour of sleep. Or
Does she take that in? That gratitude?
she does. My mom's a tough lady.
So tell me more.
About just her?
Yeah. Because I can't help you figure out how to meet her need for significance, which is what you need to do, then there won't be a battle. Then she'll be meeting your need, and two powerful women will be supporting each other.
Well, she just has very different ideas on how to raise the kids in certain ways. And I'm a lot more, believe it or not, more relaxed. I'm like, Mom.
Oh, I know. You told me stuff that totally made me understand that before this.
Yeah.
Like about how you care and you allow them at night to be with you if they need to. And all
Yeah.
this good stuff.
But I tell my mom, I'm like, pick your battles. I'm like, is it really worth you fighting with Jaden because he has to take that extra bite? And it makes a huge production. Jaden ends up crying. And mealtime becomes this really horrible moment for him. And I'm just like, I'm like, back off, because this is very stressful.
So in this situation, just like with a couple, the mother and the grandmother need to have alignment so the child feels certain and secure.
But then she gets pissed because she feels I'm taking her authority out because she's my mom. So do you know what I mean?
That's exactly why you two have to be in alignment. This is where the hierarchy shifts. She's not above and you're below and then the kids. You are both together and the kids feel safe. So
I just don't know how to do that with her.
That's where you need a coach to help, I believe.
Yeah.
But you can explain to her that in couples, this needs to happen, that you learned these important things about relationships, about men and women. And then you could say, you know that right now, and it won't always be this way, but right now, the next year, or whatever your plan is for how long you're going to live with her, because I'm sure you have a plan. You're not going to live with her forever.
No.
So this is temporary. Mm-hmm. So for this amount of time, you're my co-parent. You're not just a grandmother. You're a co-parent. You have incredible impact on my children. You are forming them. I am so grateful because not only do you make their lunch and feed them dinner with me, you create who they are. And I chose you to do this with me.
I think she wants to feel important. Like, I think she wants to feel she's the matriarch. Mm-hmm. And she wants to have that position.
So you need to say you are more than a mother. You are much more than a mother for me. And you need to be very clear that you chose her. And I think you need to remind her of her past and all the good.
I can't do that. Oh.
All the good that she gave you, that you would not be the strong woman that you are had she not been your mother. And you feel this so powerfully that you are amazed that she can give this to your children too.
Michelle's been in a power struggle with her mother, when she would have been much more effective elevating her mother as a co-parent of her children. When Michelle does this, her mother won't have to fight for significance, and she'll be able to cooperate and help more.
It's very important that I recognized and that you recognize what is a temporary situation. Just like you think big, I'm going to speak to 1,000 people, there might be a part of your brain that thinks I'm going to be in this situation forever. So as a priority for me, my priority as your coach would be, this is a transition time where you're living with your mother, with your children. So we need to make the best of it. We need to make it work. She's always going to be a grandmother, but she's not always going to be a co-parent.
Right.
So how, in my mind, I'm also thinking, how am I going to get you to fall in love? How am I going to get you your own place that you love? Your successful business, and your happiness as a mother. So I have all those things I'm holding inside of me for my client.
Yeah.
I'm not just zeroing on this, and I'm remembering all the time. There's more, and I will get there eventually, but I'm not forgetting for a minute what I want for her.
Yeah, on this side, anyway, of being the client, that feels awesome to hear.
And we work on one thing at a time.
So then strategy came out when you want to speak in front of crowds. You want to speak in front of 1,000 people, right? So how can you start with 30 people, Magali says, and then she says, you know what? I want you to limit yourself to 30 people. You can't have more than 30 people. Now, why did she do that?
So she could achieve it.
Yes. And why did she forbid her from going more than 30 people?
For her to go beyond.
Because I think it would actually make me
She has this voice that tells you, you can't do that. Then she goes, I'll show you.
And by the way, I wasn't aware of that till Mark pointed it out.
So then is the question of
So, Jahan, I wasn't aware of it until Mark pointed it out. What just kicked in for me as a coach? I didn't know the strategy. I didn't know the steps. I was in a state and emotion. I didn't put myself in a trance for this one. But I realized afterwards that the emotion I was in was love. I just wanted to love her in this moment. There was no thought of strategies, but obviously I used a powerful technique because unconsciously I have learned that technique and it came out. So when you guys are working with a client and you're just being there for them in whatever emotion is important to have for you to have, then your unconscious will remember one of these strategies and you will use it. You do not have to memorize strategies for them to come into play. That's why we tell so many stories, because we learn in stories. And some of you are going, but man, I need a graph. I need a chart. You don't. None of you do. You all have this incredible friend inside that will just speak out when needed. Okay?
That's absolutely true. And then, well, you got layers. Very nice metaphor, because it gives her all these things that she can share and some things she doesn't have to share. And also understand the complexity. And it's a counter metaphor to this metaphor, the saboteur of voices. She was like, I have this voice, and I do this, and I do this. Instead, it's like, no, you got layers. You got all these parts of yourself. And also, it's a very affectionate metaphor.
Yeah, I agree, because it made me feel, as a client anyway, that I am deeper than just the surface.
Yes.
Which we all are, right? But having her vocalize that to me was like, holy shit, that's right. I am a complex human being, and I have all these layers, and I like that. That was
And
cool.
you're also a very complicated woman.
Thank you.
So when you're with a man, you're very complicated. And there's many different layers.
That's a different story.
And you think you think you're all or
And so
nothing.
I'm saying this
Yes.
because I'm holding that vision for you.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So I want you to also hold that vision for that other you. Okay? We're talking about you as a mother and as a success person, but we don't forget that other you. What's
Yeah.
very special about you in doing this coaching is you don't get stuck on one thing. You move quickly to, well, this is also important.
Yes.
You see the block. How is it that you take very confusing things and you it's like you bullet point them?
I don't know. Is it my dyslexia? I don't know.
I think it's like opposite of dyslexia. Just like when you see us doing things here and you understand a better system.
Magley is now referring to a time earlier in the training when Michelle solved a complex problem of how to organize the other students in an exercise. Why? Because Michelle had mentioned now that she wasn't very confident about her learning style. Michelle has dyslexia, and as a kid, she had to find her own ways of learning in school. So Magley's pointing out that this made Michelle much stronger at grasping and solving problems. And this can be a huge strength in her coaching. Magley's now going to make sure that Michelle really gets this.
I don't know. I kind of wish Michelle was here because I think it's kind of like a mind map. So I have me and all these little things and things that I think about, that it's constantly thinking about. Now I know I only have maybe half an hour here with you. So I'm like, shit, I have all this shit that I have to talk to Magley about. Let's go. I'm like, no. Okay, so let's fix it. Next. Let's go. I'm like,
All right.
Does that make sense?
Another layer. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
I needed you to explain that to me because I wasn't sure exactly how it worked.
Just to try and be efficient.
But it's a lot of people try to be efficient.
Not at that speed.
There's something else going on in your brain that's very special. It's not, it's the kind of, in my view, the opposite of dyslexia, but it may have to do with that ability to visualize in space in it, like you pointed out the mind map. It's not always linear. So
No.
you see the connections moving out and you prioritize very quickly. So I just wanted to point that out because it's very important to understand what we do that we think, oh, it's just everybody prioritizes or some people are efficient, but it's different. This is a really big strength. This is a really important part of you that you see in yourself and in situations and in other people. All these brainstorming options, and you can move quickly. The speed you can go with yourself is different than the speed you can go with clients.
Oh
But
yeah, and
you're-
that's a huge issue with me. And I know, I recognize that. I see that. I'm like, okay, Michelle, you gotta pull the brakes. Like,
So you make a mind map after every session.
okay.
And you remember that you can be going at that speed in your mind with your visualization of the person, understanding their different layers, and staying as you need to with one layer.
I just think that also growing up, I've had to problem solve in a different way than other people do. Like I was telling you, I was like, I have to figure out a different way to study because I don't learn the way normal people learn. So I'm like, okay, so I have to work twice as hard, or I did in high school and college. And so having to figure out different ways to problem solve things, like most people would, like to you might be simple, like you go from A to B, like here, not me, I'm like, okay, let's do this over here, what else is over here? Okay, it's, you know what I mean? And so I do all this stuff, and through my journey, I find all these other...
And that's going to allow you as a coach and as a speaker to be in so many places at once. It's incredibly powerful. There's no doubt. That's what Chloe was getting at. Okay.
Thank you.
Did you see the way Michelle said awesome? This is actually a breakthrough. Why? Because it's the first compliment she took in at the deepest level of her own self-understanding. See, up to now, her worries about her learning style, her ability to be a coach, her deepest level of not feeling understood, all hinged on the fear that she might not have the ability to add value to her clients. And that's a killer fear to have if you're going into a new business. When Magali took the time to understand this part of Michelle, how she processes her information, Michelle was actually able to feel understood and to relax in the understanding of her own strength. We've seen Magali guide Michelle through several layers of her life, right? How to handle her self-criticism and understand what that voice does for her. How to honor her dreams of speaking. How to set up an actual event that she can manage and start right now. How to present herself to her audience in a way that feels authentic. How can she feel great about coaching while being a full-time mom? How to handle the relationship with folks she's living with at home, and how to understand and honor the strengths that'll make her great. That's quite a few layers, but guess what? It's not just Michelle, we all have layers. Each of these were actually about a 2 to 4 minute conversation. Solving each of these little 2 to 4 minute conversations empowered another part of Michelle's psychology, her life, and her actions. And as these doubts got handled, Michelle got stronger and stronger until she's ready to go out there and make her life what she wants it to be. This is Strategic Intervention Coaching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the next one.